Whoops. Whoops. Little later than usual. Sorry about that. Ooh, let me put this in, 1 second. Just making sure everyone knows over at the cave. Alright. That's better. No. Why must we do this? There we go. Okay. We're so back. Hello. And welcome back to Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney Trilogy, specifically AA4, specifically Turnabout Serenade. Last time we did the... Why does the audio feel strange? Does audio sound okay? Maybe it's just my, my pop filter. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, we did our investigation. Lamirois was trapped in a guitar case? Or like a contrabass case? She could have died due to oxygen deprivation, which is crazy. And we met Valiant Grammary, who is Trucy's family friend. She calls him Uncle. And he is a magician who helped the show and do the trick with Lamirois disappearing and reappearing on another stage. So, today we are doing the trial. I'm excited. I've missed these guys. Oop, I have one last thing that I have to do. I have to put on my bracelet. Sorry for the late start. Just actually planning Saturday. My friend and I are going to a little one-day event as Apollo and Clavier, actually. And so we were chatting and trying to figure out the wig stuff, because actually Clavier's wig kind of giving us a hard time. So, yeah. Okay. Let's get into this. I have to remember everyone's voices. Well, this is it! Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Oh yeah, the embassy called, right? Yeah, there's a case of smuggling going on in here too. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy, we're leaving. Darian, wait! I never liked you. Either of you. Huh? The jealous ex-boyfriend vibes are crazy. Darn it, we were so close. He was about to tell us. Hi, Ivy. Hey, Apollo. He didn't want us to hear what Machi had to say. And I think I know why. Time to bring down a little justice. Ooh. Ah! What was that? I'm gonna go with this is Valiant. He is heard but unseen. Who's that talking? Hey, King. Valiant Grammary, I exclaimed as he walked in through the door normally. You aren't the witness for today, are you, Uncle Valiant? A preposterous proposition. How could I stand upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Ooh, with vanishing magic? Indeed. I will jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning. Warning? What? A grand grammary glamour resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. A glamour? A spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. Miss Trucy, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell! Okay, bye.
And there he goes.
He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing.
Oh, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show without one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually it involves cutting up things like people or elephants or the Eiffel Tower, anything really.
So he was talking about what we saw at the concert.
La Miroir's disappearing act.
And Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar.
I wonder what he meant by it being at the root of all that has happened.
Well, it's about time. Shall we go? Oh, excuse me, sir. Yes? The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30 a.m. Sorry for the inconvenience. Huh? Did something happen? This is a first. It was by the judge's request, some urgent personal business. Great. I bet he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently he's visiting the hospital again. The hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition worsened considerably this morning. The Chief Justice's son?
Oh, that's right! Remember yesterday morning? The judge said he had to go visit him after the trial.
There's an article about it in the newspaper. If you care to read about it yourself. Ooh, this is topical. Article about the Chief Justice's son who is inflicted with incuritis. Incuritis? Where have I heard that before?
I'll let you read that article for us, Apollo. Just leave the TV guide page to me.
Try not to lose the page with the funnies if you can. I love that Apollo loves reading comics. Let's go.
My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of how do you say this name again?
Hi, Clavier. Machi Tobaye, our suspect fortissimo.
Right. It's his trial in any case.
The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honor?
No. Well, yes. It's just, I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. Pains me to see him going through such a difficult time.
Incuritis, was it? That article said there is no known cure.
That's usually what incurable means. Herr Judge, let me say, with all honesty, I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law.
Indeed. We left off at quite the juncture yesterday.
I asked Interpol about that number. IPXX314206, the agent registered under this number, was Romain Latouche.
Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help.
Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out.
Hold it! Wait. That voice just now. It was him. I am sure of it.
It was him.
That voice I heard, talking to Mr. Latouche, when I heard gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darien.
No way. Quite a sensational ending. Who would have thought Darien would guest star in the season cliffhanger as a suspect?
I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings.
Darien Crescent is a member of my band, the Governors. He is also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet, after investigation, I have found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, Herr Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi.
An alibi?
Let us review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. The Governors ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guest took center stage. The only performers appearing were myself, La Miroir, and Machi, along with a drummer and a bassist, for a total of 5. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the third set. Lamiroir and the defendant, Mr. Machi Tobaye, had left the stage at that point, and the Governors were already rocking. This is when 2 shots rang out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Skye, mind you.
And Apollo. You heard them too, right?
I sure did. Furthermore, Lamiroir herself witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime, when she claims to have heard Mr. Latouche and Detective Crescent talking.
But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was...
Precisely. Detective Crescent was on stage, getting his groove on, no less. Voila. A perfect alibi.
Does the defense have anything to add to this?
It's true. When I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up.
It appears the defense has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Derek Crescent's alibi has been acknowledged.
Which means that Lamiroir was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true.
Very well. Of course, if we disregard her testimony, then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections.
Uh-oh, Apollo. If he declares a verdict now...
Ugh. But Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lamiroir might have been lying to protect Machi. How can I rely on her for testimony? Wait, what about yesterday in the detention center? About the case? What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latouche's death? This meeting's over.
Darian?
Machi was trying to tell us something. I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him under oath.
Very well. The court finds the defendant... what was his name again?
Your Honor!
No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquis or Mr. Justice.
Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who, until now, has not been given a chance to speak in this court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean. I do. The defense calls defendant Machi Tobaye to the stand.
What? But he doesn't speak English.
We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter? I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases, such as I love you and where is the toilet. Priorities. I love you, Clavier. The defense would like to request Lamiroir as the interpreter.
Lamiroir? But there's a possibility she's protecting the defendant.
But she'd be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie?
This is most unusual.
Bravo, Herr Forehead. Herr Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If Lamiroir lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that.
Well, if both prosecution and defense are for this, I'd see little cause for refusal.
Clavier working with us instead of against us never gets old. It's so refreshing, guys. Finally, some progress.
Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lamiroir to the witness stand.
I suppose there is a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name, to begin with, if you would, Lamiroir.
Yes. He says, Machi Tobaye, the defendant.
This is certainly a first for this courtroom. Not that we really needed an interpretation of that message in particular.
So far, so good.
Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would.
Huh? If I would what, Your Honor?
Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about?
What do I want him to testify about? Ugh, I hadn't thought that far yet.
Apollo! Aren't you going to ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday?
How can I if I don't know what he was saying?
Excuse me a moment, if I might speak.
Yes, Lamewa.
Just now, Machi said there is something about which he wishes to testify.
Machi wants to testify about something? What could it be?
What sort of testimony is he talking about?
One moment, please.
Ugh, the suspense is killing me.
What?
What? What?
Well, Lamewa.
According to Machi, he has proof of his innocence.
What?
This is a surprise.
Yahoo! Victory, Apollo! We did it!
This is sounding too good to believe, and I know what that usually means.
Well, if that's true, then this is vital testimony. Machi, please testify to the court.
Very well.
Pull my mic a little closer so I don't have to lean.
He says that word of Mr. Latus's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, I, that is, he, could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them.
I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely.
I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lamewa to know the meaning of that song. Lamewa, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him?
I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked.
Has my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead? Lamewa might be protecting the witness.
Well, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would.
Yes, Your Honor. Something's hidden in that testimony, I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. I've got my bracelet ready too. It means nothing to anyone but me because no one can see it, but I have it on. Alright, let's get all these fun little dialogues. Were Machi and Mr. Latus close?
Yes, after we traveled around the world on tour together.
Lamewa, this is Machi's cross-examination, not yours.
But I knew the answer.
This is a court of law. We'll play by the book.
I understand.
When Prosecutor Gavin's tough, he's really tough.
Machi says he was very good friends with Mr. Latus. Mr. Latus was always a gentleman, never angry. We got along quite well. I never dreamed something like this would happen.
I wonder if Machi's, look is supposed to imitate Elton John at all. I'm gonna look that up, actually. The guitar serenade, correct?
Yes. The crime followed the lyrics of the song. The theft of the keyring, the burning guitar, and the bullet. This is why it could not have been me.
Oh, okay, never mind, I said that already. By could not have done it, you mean...
It is very simple. Machi could not have done all the things that happened that day. For all those things followed the song lyrics closely.
Wouldn't it be difficult for him to perform without knowing the meaning of the lyrics? I don't think so.
He did know what the song was about. Its mood, shall we say. This was enough to play by. I told him it was a song about a guitar and love.
It's not actually the guitar that's in love, strictly speaking.
Oh? Perhaps I misunderstood.
No, not really. Yours is also a valid interpretation. Okay.
Oh, it is my fault. I am too used to singing in Borginian. It is much easier than trying to understand these English lyrics. Yay! I knew he was innocent!
I believe he is too, Trucy. I do.
What's wrong, Apollo? You got a tummy ache or something?
Something's hidden in that testimony. If it's the truth, I'll find it.
Alright. Yeah, everyone seems to think that this is an Elton John reference in his outfit and vibe, but it's not official.
So I'm just going to say yes. Okay.
I think that he was probably shocked about this.
I'm gonna say this one. Oh! Oh, keep going. His eyes moved. Yeah, do it again. Because the lyrics...
Gotcha!
Machi! Machi. You can't fool my eyes. You glanced toward her the very moment La Mémoire said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? What are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade?
Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word English.
Huh?
Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned the name for this language. That is all.
What? Give me a break!
Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance?
Well, yeah, but...
I'm sorry, but he truly does not understand your language.
Well, then explain this! How does he know the crime followed the lyrics?
Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It is simple. So simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper.
The newspaper?
The Virginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. They have already begun to report about this case in our homeland.
I was right.
What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they're quite fierce all of a sudden.
Machi is lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying.
Yeah, this paper was, only about the case and not about the lyrics.
I have here a Virginian newspaper. The Virginian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed. There is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? That's right. It doesn't mention the lyrics.
What? What is this all about?
I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Virginian newspaper.
What does this mean?
But I don't see how it's possible. I know. He must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning. Yes.
Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself.
So the lyrics weren't in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less.
The witness will explain everything himself.
Machi says. He says.
Yes?
It is true I read the newspaper. But this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember.
You remember?
He says he heard of the lyrics from me.
What?
Is this true, Lemuel?
Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself.
And it looks like Herr Forehead's been jumping to conclusions again.
It seems so, yes.
No. No! I was on to something, I know it. I can't let this chance slip by. Or away.
Time is an issue today, Mr. Justice. Are you finished with the cross-examination?
What are you going to do, Apollo?
If I'm going to keep on cross-examining, I better have an angle of attack. Or else. My bracelet's still reacting. Your Honor, please allow me to continue.
If you must, you must. Very well. Witness.
I understand.
Exactly how much did you explain to Machi?
This is a question for me, yes?
This interpretation thing is getting old fast.
I told him that Mr. Latus had been killed, and why he was a suspect. And I told him the crimes of that day followed my song.
Did you mention any particular words of the song relating to the case, such as heart?
Yes, of course I explained this. He was quite surprised.
Yay! I knew he was innocent. Okay, we got these already. Apollo has a tummy ache. I bet both Clavier and Apollo have anxious tummies. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Okay, do it again. Do it again. Hear it again. I think it's this first sentence. Ah! She's doing the swallow again. Okay, one more time, girl.
Lamuar, I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain?
Me? Uncertain?
Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained.
I see there is little point in trying to hide anything from you.
Lamuar, are you indeed protecting someone?
That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself.
Then allow me to answer for you. Lamuar, you're protecting Machi, of course. Lamuar, you are protecting Machi. That's why you lied and told us that you would explain how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi, I believe you didn't do it, really. I trust you. But you lied to us twice. And now you have Lamuar lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to.
Ah!
Witness, is this true? Or do you understand English?
Yes, a little only.
What?
First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lamuar?
No, I did not. It is quite a surprise.
How many secrets is this witness hiding?
Last. This is last.
Machi, could you tell us what really happened?
No shooting! I did no shooting!
So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct? Apparently, the answer to that question isn't simple either.
I was in dressing room, behind desk, manager, he on floor.
Which would be after the shooting, right?
Then there is voice.
Boys? Or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo?
So when Machi went into the dressing room, Mr. Latouche had already been shot. And then we came to the door.
Handle up high. I take off. Run away! Run away!
So it was you who escaped through that air vent. As the prosecution has upheld along, no less, the defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? No. No! That was funny. He's clearly denied that he did it.
I no shooting. Manager on floor. Already on floor.
The victim had already been shot, you say? I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter.
Does the defendant have anything to say to this?
He's clammed up, Apollo!
And let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness?
Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait. No, of course there is.
What is this cocoon, anyway?
The cocoon, the silk, is a potent cure.
A cure? Well, Machi, are you a smuggler?
He won't tell me.
That cocoon has to have something to do with this. Machi, please tell us the truth for your own sake.
No, no more to speak. Not to any of you.
So much for your precious trust, Hair Forehead. Hey, you were the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse.
It does seem that the defense and the defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed.
Gulp. Machi. Why are you doing this to us?
Apollo, use this.
That's justice. Better learn how to say it if you ever want to get some.
Believe, I no shooting.
Machi claims Mr. Latouche was already down on the ground when he entered the room.
Maybe it was a trap and he walked right into it?
Suddenly, I hear a revolver. Close, very close. Then, I hear voice.
You heard gunshots?
Yes, it's true. I hear a revolver, but only sound.
Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Latouche already dead and then you heard shots? If that's true.
So, you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots?
And you escaped through the air vent.
I know.
Huh? Oh,
Huh? What do you know?
I know if I opening vent, I can leave stage and backstage.
so the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area? Is that what he means?
Hey, he's right! Look, Apollo!
Huh? Yeah. But how did you know it was connected like that?
Wait, I bet his father was the architect that designed the hall or something.
I hear this from magician.
Magician?
Don't look at me!
Magician, huh?
Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Machi didn't shoot Mr. Latouche.
Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body and then he heard the shots? That one's going to go over well in court. Not.
Apollo! Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Daddy always told me.
I'll just pretend you misheard him. Every time. So, what do we do?
You're sure you won't testify, Machi?
No talking. No.
Well, it was worth a shot.
That cocoon.
I can't go home.
Can't go home?
I can't go home to Virginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Virginia is death.
That's right. It's punishable by death. Of course. He's scared. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach.
That's the spirit, Apollo. So what's your plan?
If Machi won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify.
Someone else?
I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there.
Right.
Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk.
Very well. So will he testify?
Your Honor, the defendant will not testify.
What?
Shame. And here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor.
A different angle?
It's about the angles. If Machi won't testify, then I know who will. I would like to cross-examine the witness in this case, La Miroir.
La Miroir.
What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that La Miroir's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... La Miroir was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries.
What happened?
She was assaulted, Your Honor.
Assaulted?
Someone wanted La Miroir dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself. What? I've heard no such report. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would anyone be out to kill La Miroir? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English. Yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been?
You don't think?
I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouche. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So, am I to understand that this is what you are saying? Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in La Miroir's testimony. A nugget we have yet to uncover. Exactly.
If La Miroir was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we thought we... as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear La Miroir's testimony once more.
Hey girl. La Miroir, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand again and speak.
You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent, and I will do all that I can until the court realizes this.
Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window, and that the voice belonged to Darian Crescent. Yes?
That is correct.
At which I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed and was found to be quite soundproof.
You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice?
I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know.
And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be so kind as to testify once more to the court?
Of course, Your Honor. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window.
Why were you in a hurry?
Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony.
I am sorry. I am not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth.
And it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lamiroir was attacked because of this testimony. What? Trucy?
Apollo? You know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool.
Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine this witness.
Sorry, I just imagine, like, Trucy, like, seeing Clavier, and Clavier is like, oh my god. I really like it when he yells at me. What does that say about me?
Is something wrong?
I know I said hold it, but she's saying the same thing she said before.
Mr. Justice.
Sorry, it's nothing. Please continue with your testimony.
Now I know what they mean about the reckless youth these days.
The one in red over there is a shining example, Herr Judge. You are the last person who should be pointing fingers, Mr. Rockstar. Get his ass. Darian Crescent?
I did not know his name at the time. But yes, it was him. The one who took the stand yesterday.
How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There is no way you could have heard him. Because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Of course.
Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere.
But we'll get new dialogue, Trucy. She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try. Did you hear anything else? Did you happen to hear anything else at the time?
Anything else?
Anything else besides the victim and the shooter's conversation? Anything at all? That's quite the vague question.
Other than the conversation, I heard a clock ticking, the two men breathing, footsteps. That is all.
Nothing new there, as expected. Ugh, I was hoping for a little more than that.
Perhaps we should just carry on with the cross-examination.
As you wish.
But that doesn't make sense. She should have heard the music. There were 2 gunshots.
Yes, I heard 2, one after the other.
That fits with the bullet holes at the scene. Nothing really new here to pick up. Why didn't you tell someone immediately?
Well,
If it were me, I would have gone to the police right away. It's our duty as citizens.
This may be beside the point, but La Miroir isn't a citizen. Though one would hope such common sense prevails in Bourgogne as well.
Lamiroir seems awfully quiet all of a sudden.
That's strange. Could she be hiding something?
it is as you say, yet at the time.
You were in a hurry.
Why were you in a hurry?
You were in a hurry. To go where?
I was on my way to the backstage exit, as I have said.
Why were you in such a hurry then?
Well, I don't think that has anything to do with this case.
It very well might. Please answer the question. Are you alright, La Miroir?
Yes, I am just tired.
Recall what I told you yesterday, Herr Forehead. La Miroir suffers from serious amnesia. Please refrain from traumatizing her further. What, so he can just dismiss questions he thinks are too traumatizing? Why don't you prove her reason had a connection to the case before asking about it, yeah?
The prosecution's objection is sustained. The current question is moot. Mr. Justice, please continue with your cross-examination.
La Miroir was attacked because of this testimony. I know she was. So something's got to be hidden here.
Maybe there's some detail we're missing?
I guess we'll just have to get her to fill in the blanks.
Right. Okay. It was this one, I think.
Okay. I think this is the one. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we can ask something else. What were they talking about? Lamiroir, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us.
I have given it much reflection, but
I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember.
I only heard one phrase clearly.
A whole phrase? She remembers something that was said. Why didn't you say anything yesterday?
Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said.
This could be it. The clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did he say?
It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche.
The shooter, then. Darian Crescent.
Well, what did he say?
It's over. Press the switch, now.
Switch. And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latouche.
I thought it quite strange myself afterward.
It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this?
I mean, sure. I'd be delighted. It's, very, very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony.
Maybe, Apollo?
Well, I know what it is, but... And it was Detective Darian Crescent's voice?
Yes, I am sure of it.
It's over. Press the switch. Why would he say that to Mr. Latouche?
Apollo? The murder weapon, the revolver, was Mr. Latouche's, right?
Yeah, what of it?
Well, maybe when he said press the switch, he really meant to say pull the trigger. Because his English isn't so good.
Darian Crescent is a native speaker.
Oh, right. Sorry, I kind of forgot who was what.
Press the switch. That's not something a killer usually says to their victim, is it?
Was there no one else in the room?
I do not know. All I heard was Mr. Latouche and the detective.
Okay. I believe I know what I can do. Go back. There is a switch. Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh. Yeah, there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch, save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene. But it just so happens, I have a switch right here.
That certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it?
The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage.
The stage?
Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there, on the stage.
Are you claiming that the voice Lamiroir heard was someone commanding another to press the switch?
It's a possibility. Oh, Herr Forehead, I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert forum. The stage is quite far from Lamiroir's dressing room. Not to mention that the Governors were in the middle of a concert on said stage. We aren't known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard.
The detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout.
So too have Herr Forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me? You heard what I said. Or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on that stage from the dressing room. Well, we have the fucking headset, brother. Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this? Why, that's...
What? What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking?
This is a type of transmitter, a communications device.
Communications device.
From what I've heard, that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, actually. Therefore, talking between band members. We all had one on. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple. True, but wait. Those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited.
Lamiwar said it was about 30 feet, right?
Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. That can't be. So when Lemuar heard the shooter's voice, he could have been taught. Oh, sorry.
So when sorry about that, I was too busy thinking about that sprite of Clavier. I don't like that sprite of him. It makes me really sad. And I got distracted by it. It makes me sad.
So when Lamiwar heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage.
You're claiming that this is the switch in question? Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact.
Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said press the switch?
Well, I guess we don't.
An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it.
I was sure this was the way to go with this. What is this switch, anyway? We don't even know that basic fact. Yes, we do. You just don't. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that completely changes this case.
What's up, Apollo? Apollo?
We know about this switch, right? We know what it is.
Yeah?
Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened.
Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning this switch...
Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Justice.
I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what this switch is.
Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking the switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what this switch is?
One of these. Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this?
Yeah.
That's...
The what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones?
Your Honor, not everything has to be a cell phone, King.
This...
Oh,
Wrong voice. Sorry, Apollo.
this is an igniter. What phone looks like this?
The igniter. You mean it's like a lighter?
Yes, actually. You aren't saying the switch is a remote. I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you.
Yow, 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 yow! Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom!
Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I'd expected.
If my whiskers had caught on fire.
Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you?
Ah!
Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. Orange, when your guitar caught fire in the middle of your performance.
Wasn't that part of the stage show, though?
Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned. And the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake.
That's right! He got it in Virginia from La Miroir. He said the sound was amazing. Before it burned, of course. Now it just kind of smokes.
The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Half forehead. Yes. Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice heard by La Mémoire, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed, and the guitar caught fire.
Well, that does seem to make sense. Though something about it is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it.
Really? It seems pretty simple to me. There it is. Half forehead. Don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong.
What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin?
His simple story simply makes no sense. Think. That night, my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause may have been this, indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set.
Ah, that's right, of course.
Show me orange.
The guitar caught fire during La Mémoire's song.
Indeed. Yet the shooting happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated.
Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty.
See, his story makes no sense. Are you sure about that?
What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice?
Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for this entire case so far.
What premise is this specifically?
I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act. What's this? But Detective Emma Skye heard the shots and found the body. All of this happened in the third act. Gunshots rang out. And according to his testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the time.
Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice?
Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony. Namely, that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane. Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset. Sorry. Take a drink of water. Telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote-triggered igniter was inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance, the second act. What? That sprite is so distressing. That sprite makes me really upset.
Order! 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 But that goes against the evidence.
What does, Your Honor?
This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes?
Hey, he's right. Look. The bullet is supposed to come after the fire.
You're thinking about it the wrong way.
Huh?
Look. Why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through, with little merit for the person doing it.
Well, I'm sure whoever it was had some reason.
Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics. You're saying the order was reversed on purpose.
Reverse, Prosecutor Gavin.
If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet Half Forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd followed the lyrics the whole way.
Order, order, order! That would explain this most unusual situation.
It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second.
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this. But sadly, it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good, I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic, for it's flawed from the very beginning. Lamiroir was on stage.
Flawed?
Yes. A contradiction, hair forehead, one I've pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could Lamiroir have heard a voice through it?
Oh.
I know that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact, but you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise.
Right. Lamiroir's testimony is my entire case. That voice she heard, the shooter's voice.
What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo?
Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch. And near the crime scene we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be coincidence, but how do I make it work?
I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was investigated, immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Care to tell us how Lamiroir heard the voice?
A key point, to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court?
Okay, Justice. You've got one thing to prove and one thing only. Lamiroir heard a voice. And she heard it during the second set. Think. How was Lamiroir able to hear the voice? She was somewhere else. When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it, had it been open either. Meaning it was impossible to hear the voice through that window.
Ah, it's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment, I was afraid you might be a Borginian too.
As I was saying, Lamiroir could not hear the voice through that window. So there can be only one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely.
What's this?
You do amuse me so. And here I thought you and Good Sense were back on speaking terms. Now I'm afraid you and Good Sense speak two entirely different languages. Shall I interpret for you, Hair Forehead? Lamiroir clearly stated that she heard the voice through that small window, and there was only one small window at the scene.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that?
Are you sure? Do you want to bet money?
No. Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene?
There is?
Ah, I know that look. He wants us to ask him. I saw Phoenix Wright do this shit. Very well, you claim Lamiroir heard the voice from another location? Mr. Justice, show us where this location was.
Lamiroir heard the voice from here. This is where Lamiroir heard that voice from.
But that's no small window, that's the air vent.
What did she tell us? She said she's a Borginian, unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window.
Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. So Lamiroir was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice.
That's the only logical explanation, yes.
Logical. I do not think this word means what you think it means, Hair Forehead.
Okay, what about it isn't logical?
It hardly merits saying. Why would Lamiroir be in the ventilation system?
hiding like a rat. No offense intended to her, of course. The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, La Miroir? Oh, isn't it, La Miroir? You have been listening to our discussion here, yes?
Yes. I admit, it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed, but why should that mean I could not hear through it? I feared our prosecutor might himself need an interpreter.
Ugh.
Oh, I don't like it. I don't like how that looks. I don't.
The problem here is words. La Miroir, this small window through which you heard the voice. Was it up high on the ceiling of the room? Not low on a wall?
Yes, it was up high on the ceiling.
What? Order, order! I will have order.
Oh, hello?
Witness, you will clarify this statement to the court. Are you in fact saying that you were up above the ceiling of the room? And that's where you heard the moment of the crime?
Yes, in fact, I was. I'm sorry. I never imagined it would become such an important point.
Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? Let him say fuck.
I believe it's time for another testimony.
I'm not sure I can't.
May I remind you this is a murder trial. We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime scene from above the ceiling of that room. Please.
Sorry. I'm just like taking off my sock. I've got like a pair of socks, a few pairs of socks that are like getting a little too small, I think. Making my big toe go numb on the tip. Or that's just residual nerve damage. I damaged the nerve endings in my toes quite a while back from wearing boots before breaking them in. Heeled boots, no less. Don't do that, by the way. That's stupid.
Well, looks like I'm on the right track.
Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I had heard there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy on this matter.
Bound to secrecy?
In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold.
But you say you were in the middle of your performance. So this did happen during the second set.
I did not witness the crime. You must understand. I only know what I heard.
Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail.
That's what the cross-examination is for, ja, Herr Forehead. Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission.
Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination.
What are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to find out the truth. She was up above that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her.
I feel like Clavier probably already knows the answer to this. Not even just because he might have been in on the, like, magic trick, but because of showbiz. Like, if you know anything about, like, how people cart other people to different parts of stages in a very, like, fast way. That shit, yeah.
Above the ceiling. Could you be more specific?
I cannot.
Because you're bound to secrecy?
Yes. To tell the truth, I was not supposed to even say I was above the ceiling. I dare not say more.
Doesn't sound like I'll be able to coax it out of her by just asking. But what if we go pretty, please? By small window, you mean the air vent?
I only remember I needed to be careful of where I put my hands and feet. I cannot see the light coming through the window, of course.
The air vent grate could trip you up, certainly.
So, I was walking very carefully when I heard the gunshots. Startled, I crouched and listened. That is when I heard his voice come from the room.
Darian's voice.
I knew something terrible had happened, yet...
What do you mean by in the middle? Like, how in the middle?
So without a word, you just let the third set start?
After the curtain closed for the second set, there was still so much to do.
You could have prevented this whole misunderstanding if you had only told us sooner.
Yes, perhaps I could have.
I see little point in badgering the witness. What's done is done. The mind works differently when one is in the middle of a performance. Why, I've lost my voice in the middle of a show and kept on singing, completely unaware.
Singing without a voice? If only all contradictions were so obvious. If only I could get Lamiroir to talk. Pressuring her like this doesn't seem to be getting me anywhere. You heard the gunshots during the second set, during your performance. You're quite sure?
Yes. Why would I lie about the time?
Why didn't you tell us yesterday?
No one asked me.
Alright, that's fair. Hate that shit, but that's fair.
I thought you all knew. I told you Machi was not the killer. I told you this many times.
Yes, you did. But you never told us why.
I am sorry. I was not able to speak of it.
Unable or unwilling?
She's not talking, Apollo. What do we do?
We'll just have to prove it ourselves. As long as she is bound by this pact of silence, she won't talk. But if I can prove why she was up there, she'll have to admit it.
But how are you going to do that? She was singing on the stage, Apollo. She couldn't have been up there above the ceiling, too.
Yes, she could. I've got a theory as to why, too. And maybe I've got the evidence to prove it. Exactly who bound you to secrecy?
I'm not sure I'm allowed to say who it was. No, I think perhaps it is all right. It is just a name, after all. It was Valant Grammary. Perhaps you know him?
Valant Grammary? What? You mean Uncle Valant?
What? Valant Grammary? Who's Valant Grammary?
A grand magician. The one responsible for the illusion performed during our concert.
Interesting reaction, Prosecutor Gavin. Lamiroir was bound to secrecy. It's going to take some hard-hitting proof to make her talk. I think I know why she was up there, but how do I prove it?
That's okay. I got something. Where is it? Show me tape. I'm gonna listen. Turning up my own volume. Okay. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Is this it? I don't know which one of these it is. Okay. So this one's not it because she's agreeing with us what we're about to prove. It's one of these two. I'll do this one, and if it's not this one, it's the next one. But she wasn't on stage for a part. Okay, phew.
Lamiroir, truth be told, the reason for your presence above that ceiling is quite clear. Especially when you consider what happened during your performance.
What happened?
Yes, it's all right here on this video. Boop. Get fucked. It's funny. It's funny. He's silly. Guys, he's silly. As we can see, La Miroir was clearly not on stage for her entire performance.
Ah!
Though it saddens me to be so realistic, La Miroir is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view. And during that time, she moved to the back of the forum.
Apollo?
What, Trucy?
It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules.
But I'm a lawyer. I'm not supposed to be nice. Yeah.
This is all very fascinating. But how is it possible? There was only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin?
This was his concert. His show. He knows how the illusion was performed.
Aha!
He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage through the backstage to the rear of the forum.
Ah! Ah!
Recall La Miroir's testimony from yesterday.
I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it.
She went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of this route above the ceiling.
La Miroir knew of this because of her part in the illusion. But she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Machi told me something.
I know. I know if opening vent, I can leave stage and backstage.
He said that. Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course. Yet I had no idea of the route that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me?
Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know?
Which is why he bound La Miroir to secrecy. Well, La Miroir,
I am impressed, Mr. Attorney. Machi was right about you.
So what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling?
I did.
Well, that's that. But I'm still a little confused.
why's that, Your Honor?
As I said before, there was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds, tops. How could she do it so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice.
That's a good question.
Can the witness explain this to the court?
I cannot.
Very well, Mr. Justice.
Yes?
It's all up to you. Do your thing.
What thing, Your Honor?
You need to explain how La Miroir was able to teleport like she did. Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater.
Ugh. Why do I get picked on? It's La Miroir who isn't going along with the program here.
As I have stated before, I am not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail.
Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her.
Yes, if you would, please.
Right. I feel like a student before finals.
Good luck, Apollo.
I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There is an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice.
2 minutes, you say? The mystery deepens.
I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something.
As does my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice.
Right, Your Honor. All I have to do is find the contradiction between what Lamiwar is saying, and what we can see plainly in the video.
I figured it out already. I am a magician, after all.
Well, tell me.
Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on.
Hey, you're supposed to be on my side here. How did you, proceed along this route?
How? Why, I walked.
But you arrived behind the forum much too fast to have been walking. Tell the truth, Lamiwar. You rode some kind of vehicle.
What? A vehicle? What vehicle?
Ah, what a novel idea. I like it. Hey, that's not a bad guess. Wrong, but not bad.
Haha, yes, laugh at the dumb attorney. I don't mind.
I'm sorry, but the girl is right. That vent was much too small for vehicles. It was a tight fit. Even I had to crouch as I walked. I cannot imagine a vehicle that would fit in such a small space.
It's a cart. They're making a reference to how Japanese artists especially, but like people will get they'll sit in a cart and they'll vroom them across. Vroom, so that they show up at the other part. It's awesome. I love watching videos of it. I want to experience it sometime.
Ugh. If it wasn't a vehicle, what was it?
You had me going for a while there, Mr. Justice. Too bad. Ready for the next part?
Why do I feel like I'm on some kind of quiz show? Once again, I am saying let these fuckers on Ida's Somnium Files. Did everyone on the concert staff know about the trick?
Not at all. Not all. Only a few that were needed to help.
See? Like I said, it's on a need-to-know basis.
So not many people knew about the trick.
What were these stagehands required to do?
One needed to open the emergency exit. The door to the stairs is locked, but once through there...
So when you came back out, you were behind the audience.
Yes, that is how it worked.
Not a bad show if I do say so myself. That's Uncle Valen for you, the old grammary touch.
But on the video, you were only gone for 20 seconds. How was that possible?
That's the part I don't get either.
Yes, it would be hard to go so far in only 20 seconds.
Two minutes?
Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you are running.
Running? In that cramped dark tunnel above the ceiling?
Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me.
That's true, but...
So you're saying that on the night of the concert, you made the trip in 2 minutes?
Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway.
Lamiwar disappears on the video for 20 seconds. But she says she made the trip in 2 minutes. How?
If you want my professional opinion, I'll bet the answer's right there in that video.
Well, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us? Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony?
Oh! Hang on! Evidence explaining the discrepancy? I don't know that I can yet. What kind of evidence could that prove that? What's your professional opinion about this one, Trucy?
Sorry, I don't work in evidence.
And I don't work in tricks. I'm an attorney, not a magician, for crying out loud. All the people who draw Apollo and the Magician AU are like, hey.
Really? I'm sure Daddy would have loved working on this.
Thanks, that makes me feel oh so much better.
Well, I don't know about all of you, but I find this mystery fascinating. And I'm not letting this trial go any further until we get to the bottom of it. The defense will continue with the cross-examination until we have some answers.
Easier said than done. And it was Darian's voice you heard?
Yes, I am certain it was him.
A matter best left for later, yeah?
Put that forehead of yours to work on this illusion first. Hold on. I think the identity of the killer is a little more important, don't you?
Importance and schmortance. Objection overruled. Tell us about the illusion.
No use trying to avoid the problem at hand, Apollo.
Trying to avoid the problem? This is a murder trial. The killer is the problem! The contradiction between Lamiwar's testimony and the video. Unraveling an illusion can't be so different from solving a normal case. Right?
Sorry, Apollo. I'm not telling. Not even if you make those puppy dog faces.
Fine, fine. Okay. I think I know. Because she... So, I don't know if you can hear it in the video. But I'll play the video so that you can hear it again. Potentially. In the video. Okay. Listen to this part very closely. Right here. There's a paw in the background, and she's supposed to say pleasure, pleasure there, because the lyrics, I believe, there are pleasure, pleasure. She only says it once. Okay, so I think that is the evidence. I think the lyric book. If it's not the lyric book, it's the video itself. Okay. Yes, okay. Okay. I love that you can hear it. I'm gonna try. There's one piece of evidence that explains the discrepancy between video and testimony.
Aha! So this is it. The magical key to unlocking this illusion's dark secret. Tell us how it works. Quickly! I can't bear the suspense.
I was kind of hoping someone else would jump in at this point. Well, you see... Ha, Judge. I do hate to spoil the mood, but I haven't the faintest idea what he's talking about, and neither does he.
I'm a little confused too there, Apollo.
Right, by which I conclude that I was wrong.
Better luck next time, Pollywog!
Mr. Justice, I'm holding you responsible for
Spoiling my mood. No! Was that a tear I just saw in the judge's eye? Alright, nothing to do but rethink this through. The key's in the video somewhere. I'm sure of it. Okay. Then do I present the video? Okay, hold on. Let me try presenting the video, and then if that doesn't work, then I don't know. Okay. Although, I guess... Damn it! Okay, hold on. Fuck. Alright. Is it actually the mixing board? Because you can use the mixing board to show the different tracks, and if we do that, I think that will show... Nope. Damn. What is it? Is there anything? There might not be anything. Hold on. Oh, fuck! Okay, wait. Okay, she's got it there. Yeah. And then she shouldn't have it at this end part here, right? Oh! Oh, shit. Okay, I did not even notice that the first time. I thought that she had it both times. No way. Lamiwar, do you happen to remember this brooch?
Ah, the brooch! We saw that yesterday, did we not?
It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing this up now. Why? I thought we had already determined when that was dropped. So did I, but we hadn't. Take another look at the video. In the beginning, she has it, right? Like 100%. Yeah. It's quite obvious. Here you can see she's wearing the brooch.
So she is.
Let's look a bit later. It's gone.
What? The brooch! It's gone! What?
Yes. The brooch disappeared in the short space of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can be only one explanation. L'Amour we see before the Vanishing Act and the L'Amour we see after are two different people.
What? What?
The brooch was found on the floor at the crime scene. And not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. L'Amour, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to backstage? At the very moment you witnessed the crime?
Yes, I think I did.
Order. Prosecutor Gavin.
From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, Herr Judge. I, of course, knew about it.
What?
Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So, I was right? There was a switch? There was. Just before the stage's tower rose, L'Amour was replaced.
We're on the subject. Just who was this replacement L'Amour?
Why, the man behind the illusion. Valant Gramarye. What a serve! Man looked great. It was Gramarye? That's quite the illusion. But I still don't get one thing.
Yes?
The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So you weren't on the stage.
That's right.
But this, fake L'Amour is still singing. And she's pretty good.
That's true.
Come on, Apollo, that's an easy one. They were just playing a recording.
The Gaviners aren't some kind of air guitar band, Fraulein. Is that a Golden Bomber reference? Ayo?
Oh? You mean I'm wrong?
When we play a show live, we play live, no recordings. Perhaps you can explain, L'Amour?
Very well.
Yes. Do tell, and add it to your testimony.
I had to keep singing, even while I moved.
Okay, but the lyrics are, I think this is where the lyrics are gonna come into play. You were singing?
Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings. So I used this.
Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling toward the backstage?
Why should it matter where I sing, when everywhere I go is the same darkness?
Damn queen.
But if you were singing while you were walking.
That's right! Wouldn't the shooter and the victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads after all.
That is right. Are you sure? You'd have to be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. What state?
I know what he means. That old speaker, Apollo.
The speaker. That speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. Nah, that's for monitoring the stage from this room.
Monitoring? It pipes in a real-time feed from the stage microphones. Useful for knowing when your set is coming up.
Satisfied? That dressing room was fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage. At my request, actually. So L'Amour singing in the ceiling sounded just like L'Amour singing over the speaker.
Ingenious. Her voice was hidden by her voice.
L'Amour?
I've just remembered something.
Do tell.
When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes? It startled me, so I stopped singing.
That's what I'm saying! You can hear it!
What?
I forgot the words I was supposed to sing.
The song stopped?
Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice.
Forehead. That mixing board I lent you, where is it? The mixing... Huh?
That machine, Apollo! The one that breaks music into tracks!
Oh, this! I'd completely forgotten about it. Let's take a listen. The song does stop there.
It does. I must have missed it.
Look at the lyrics sheet at the top of the second verse. See where it says pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again. Oh, orange clavier. Hi, Nim!
This is evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making a terrible mistake.
The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during La Mémoire's ballad.
If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter.
Which means that Darian Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin. Fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Man, I can't even tell what part of the case you're on when I come into that video. Yeah, I mean, you're toward the end of this trial section, I think. Did I say this already? I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains.
What's that, Prosecutor Gavin?
Half Warhead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. Yet it is entirely based upon La Mémoire's testimony.
Yes, is there a problem with this?
Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she is lying to protect the defendant? But you have no proof. All I'm saying is that the truth is as yet unclear. Until we hear directly from the man himself.
The man? You don't mean?
Yes. Though he is a friend and band member, Darian Crescent must take the stand. I see no other way.
As someone with a new perspective on the case?
As a suspect, to be frank. Sorry, I'm... Clavier is so good. He's so good. Guys, I love him. This sucks for him. This sucks for him. He literally just said as a friend and a band member and a coworker. This sucks for him. And then he has to... as a suspect. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. And I'm ready to catch him. Darian Crescent, get ready for justice.
This is as good a time as any to pause for a brief recess. The prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin.
I'm the last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are.
Very well. Court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess.
It feels bad. It feels bad. It feels so bad. Guys, I don't like Darian. He's a bitch, but like, guys, that's Clavier's friend. Guys! Yet another person is betraying him. And yet again, Apollo is sending that man to jail. I don't remember what his, like, motives and stuff are really, though. So, maybe he's not as terrible as I remember, but I feel like he's terrible. I fear he may be terrible. Yeah. Well, a shorter one. Sorry I started late. Like I said, I was talking with a friend, and we were getting ready for our Saturday Klapalo bullshit. It's okay, he'll get better friends. God willing, dude. God willing. I know in fanfiction that people give him better friends. I know I did, but like, in canon, does he get better friends? It just doesn't feel like he has friends. We can't talk about this. I'm gonna start crying. God, okay. Okay. Yeah, so Saturday there should be a stream, I think. There should be a stream on Friday. Or I'm sorry, on Saturday. On Saturday there should be a stream, Okami. It might be a little bit shorter, but it will be like not how do I say? Not important for the plot. If that makes sense. So that's good. And then Sunday we'll finish this trial out. And then, oh my god, it'll be time for the last... Dude, that's crazy. We're gonna finish this game by the end of the year. That's wild. Man. Well, until then, you know the drill. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Be good to yourself. Be kind. Stay safe. Stay hydrated. Please wear a mask. Please. And thanks for hanging out. I'll see you when I see you. Yeah, I did. I was like, oh, I think Nev's coming in like right before the end. Oops. That's okay. It's okay. Yeah. Bye.